Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. Today's topic, we're going to be discussing the relationships I had with certain people in the bullying cult clans. So, we're going to start off with, it's going to be two parts, but we're going to start off with where it all started. Okay, I was what you call a newbie to Facebook, and that was the first social media site I was ever on. So I had one friend. This person happened to be pro-choice, and believe it or not, I didn't even know. Because guess what? I never really cared if somebody was for abortion or not. I never really talked about it. I never really thought about it. Even though I myself was pro-life, it never, occurred to me to, care what somebody else was. I didn't care if somebody was, what religion or, if they're LGBTQ, or, a Democrat or a Republican. That wasn't something I cared about within my relationships with other people. Even in real life, it just never came to my head. Even, guys that I dated, believe it or not, if I think about it now, I don't even remember if they were, what political party, what their religion was, if they were for abortion or against it. That wasn't something I cared about when I got into even relationships with, a guy that I chose to date. It wasn't based upon those things. It still isn't. I mean, that's just how I am. So, anyways, this person had told me that they were being told that they should kill themselves, or so me being the type of person I am, I was like, okay. So she ended up tagging me into a group. Me being a Facebook dummy, I don't even know what a Facebook group was. So anyways, that's where I met Shitsula Jennifer. We butt heads in the beginning. So I didn't see anything. So she automatically thought I was pro-choice. That's where the lie came out years later, where she used that, saying I was pro-choice. Of course they come up with any lies they can. So anyways, back to the story. We ended up, talking in private message together, and we straightened things out. And believe it or not, I actually thought she was, a good person, and I enjoyed talking to her, and I actually thought that relationship would, last. So next would be, we were still in that group called NPLA, where we butt heads, and that's where other people came in, which was William, Booty Lube, Cheryl, It's Not Loyal, Sharon, Chameleon, and there was also Jennifer King. Oh. And believe it or not, we weren't a cult clan yet. Was there, bullying? That's where I started myself, where, William would give me comebacks or whoever, and, that's where I kind of learned to, as I thought was self-defense. But, I got pretty mean. So it was basically bullying. This is before we became a cult clan. That's where I ended up going down. So, anyways, Putty Loop, he was always more of a controlling type. And, that really showed once we got into this group called LDAA. But also other problems started to happen too. Well, they say that it was me that, didn't want him to be friends with certain people, or told them, those were lies. What actually happened is that certain clan members were disgusted that Pooty Lube started becoming friends with certain PCs. I don't even remember who, but they would, be upset about it because he would actually defend those people against them. So they would, complain to me in private. And me being the type of person I wanted to keep the friendships together, believe it or not. I wanted us to stay friends. So I, of course, tried to talk to Pooty Lube, but he's it's like talking to a rock, but he got mad at me. So, it always ended up as though they would turn it as though I was the one that caused that problem and was mad at him for certain reasons. And, you know. So that's how it ended up. So they'd end up bullying me. So that's where Sharon and Cheryl come in. So William would make, a hate group. And that's what he did. He made a hate group, and Sharon and Cheryl were in it. He also had other mutual friends. I hate to call them friends because the ones, I did lose was because just like any abuser, they try to make that victim look bad. They degrade them and tell others how bad they are. And that's exactly what happened. So I lost friends, people, I should say. But now, one person brought up recently is that, I've been mean to them. Why didn't I apologize to them? Well, the two people I told them that I apologized to, they weren't in a hate group about me, And that's one thing with me is I've never been in a hate group about somebody that trusts and respects me, or that I trust and respect them. That comes to where my therapist and even certain other friends were like, if they were in a hate group, they're not your friends. Coming to realize that's true. So, I don't understand. Here I am with them. They're pretending to be my friend while in a hate group. And that also goes with this person. They've been in the recent hate group and the last one too. So, and I wasn't even really friends with that person. That happens to be, Decetris. So anyways, they brought up, that I've been making videos. Well, that was based on a truth group, and that's what it was. Is basically I've been sharing the truth of what's been going on and what's actually happened. So my truth group that I actually talked about, I did have that. The people that were in it, first one, their name was Tabitha. The second one was Michaela, Decetris, Cheryl, Ken, and Ashley. They were all in my truth group. So they seen actual proof of the truth of the lies that were said about me. And like I said, not one single one of them said one word in my defense when those lies came up, even though the truth was right in front of them. So I'd have to say that, Cheryl, she was okay. And like I said, I really never knew what trust was. Like I said, Ken was the first person I trusted. And I guess you could see why, because it was, obvious. It felt, weird for me too that here they are over here, in a group where people are degrading me while pretending to be my friend here, but they won't defend me. So that's another thing, is that I was, asked about my videos and saying how would I like it if they made videos about me. Well, you know what? Everything I've been talking about, I've admitted my faults, and I've only been sharing the truth. They won't have nothing on me based on what I've been sharing already. And, I've never been in a hate group. But you know what? They're talking about my videos. You know what else they did as for abuse and bullying, and they still do? Is that they made public posts. They're called call-up posts to degrade and demean me in front of others. So, other posts I've been showing, that's basically what it was. Is they go into a public group to make a post to demean me and degrade me. And, that's where I said that the onlookers, followers, clan members, cult leader assistant, and cult leader are all involved in that. And all those people underneath in that engage and encourage that abuse. Because that's exactly what happened. And that's how, he built up to where it became the cult clan. And that's how it all started, was there. He had also made his own separate group where he even gained more followers and more clan members that actually came from the other group, LDA, and his was Cuss and Discuss. So this went on for years. I stayed friends with Sharon and that was it. By that time, I mainly only seen Sharon as my friend. Now, Sharon, when the bullying would happen, she was the only one that would really, talk to me, and I actually felt like she cared about me. So, I was grateful that I felt like somebody cared about me, and she actually didn't like what they were doing to me and even admitted, this is wrong. There was a couple times she did defend me, but, in the, not the recent, the last bullying incident, that's where she just, dropped me. So, with the, not the recent, but the last incident, that's the hate group that Ken was in. Now, with him, he pretended to be my friend. He did defend me against certain people, but when I approached him about being in the hate group, oh, there's no chat group about you, no way, even though I showed him. And when I showed him, he was like, well, I haven't been around that long yet. It's like, well, you had time to put in there saying, well, he wants to get, rid of me without hurting my feelings. Well, good job at not hurting my feelings, considering now I have to, when somebody asked me what was the worst thing that somebody ever did to you, who was, everybody in your life, right now I'd have to say that it was Ken that did the most hurtful and traumatic thing to me in my whole life out of all others besides my abusers. Before it was that, first, boyfriend that I had, but now it's actually Ken that did the most cruel and despicable thing ever to me. That was very extremely hurtful. So anyways, yeah, with, Ken in the last incident, and what's funny is that William had made a hate group about, John Paul and Ken, and he put me in that group. I'm thinking to myself, because that was the first time I was put into a hate group. I'm thinking to myself, why is he putting me in this group? He knows that I'm friends with John Paul and Ken. Like he knows I'm thinking, because I'm their friends, it's like he should know that I'm going to let them know. So I showed John Paul the hate group, and the screenshots of it. Oh, they were pissed, everybody in that hate group, for me sharing it. But I showed him, then he showed me screenshots of the hate group that Pootie Lou made about me. So that's another thing. This person that had questioned me based upon, not apologizing, and these people are expecting me to apologize. It's like, sorry, I'm not going to apologize, for defending myself. So this person, they said, well, they made that group, hate group, because they said you were talking about farts. I showed proof in that whole entire group that they were in themselves. I didn't even bring that up. But even if I did, is that a reason to make a hate group about somebody and degrade them and whatnot and humiliate them? And then those people that are in that group, they were pretending to, like me in this group. Well, they're in a group over there that I'm being degraded in and being humiliated. Yeah, what great people, right? That would be like in real life, say there's 5 friends, say I'm one of those friends, and here's that person who's saying that to me. Well, they made it because of this. Well, you know what? Here's this person. I'm going to be that person that says, hey guys, let's go, out to eat and to the movies. And I don't want that person to come because, they talk about LGBTQ or, or whatever. We're not going to tell them, that we're going out and we're going to lie. So we go out, and we talk, crap about that person, and this and that, and this person's over here not knowing, what great friends, right? Yeah, sure. It's like, that's exactly what those hate groups are, and it's like, these people are parents themselves. I'm sure they'd be thrilled and so happy that if that happened to their own children, that people did what was done to me. I'm sure they would be like, that's awful. Yet they themselves are doing it. Yet, the parents are, glorified. Look at these people. And hate groups, even people that, if they don't have kids, if they have, nephews or nieces or, or older siblings, what kind of role models are these? So, they're asking me, that's thinking that I need to apologize. My videos I'm doing is based on the truth. I've admitted my faults and whatnot, and I'm sharing the truth in self-defense too, and also to teach others based upon this, and it's also based upon my own personal story, which I had planned on writing, and I plan on doing, no matter what anybody else says. It's none of their business. Now, the hate groups, one thing that I liked that my friend Nina had told me recently is that, if they say it, believe it, you know? So, not even just based on the hate group, just based on what anybody says anytime. If they say it, believe it. Don't just let it slide. That was a problem I had based upon my abuse. Is I was conditioned to always just apologize, even when I didn't do anything wrong, or just let it slide as though it didn't happen, and just continue to take it. That's what I did even with the bullying incidents. I stayed friends with people even though they did things that really made it as though they really aren't worthy of being my friend. Like with Ken, in the end of the last incident, not the recent, I actually considered unfriending him because at that time I really was done with it, and I was sick of getting lied about and people attacking me. So I thought, okay, well, I need to unfriend anybody who's close to those people and the main clan members. So I unfriended all those people. I got to Ken, and I thought to myself, I said, well, he helped me so much, and he did more than anybody else really ever has as for defending me against being abused and whatnot. Even though it was only against certain people, and he ended up believing lies and being kind of disrespectful and verbally attacking me for something I really didn't do. I still paused and I said, well, you know what, maybe if nobody knows that I'm still friends with him and still talk to him, he won't get lied to and this won't happen again. So I did stay friends with him. I actually wanted to get rid of my Facebook completely, and I even told him that. And that was I only stayed because it was due to the one man that actually was good to me in my life many years ago had passed away, and he was on Facebook, and that was the only thing I had left of him. So I just couldn't do it. So I did stay friends with Ken, and like I said, I ended up refriending Carla, and that was due to the fact that she was a witness to an incident that happened with my parents' dog trying to attack me. And that's where that all ended. Now, with Ken, when me and him, our relationship, as for that, I said I saw him as that friendly dork, and that was an LDAA. And we started talking years ago, and I actually felt, a connection, and like I said, it was interesting, his conversations, it made you think. So I enjoyed talking to him. I thought he was a good person, I mean, like I said, that kind of slowed down, especially when I saw him getting close to the cult leader and the way he started acting. I went, yep, because he started becoming more vile and definitely not that, friendly dork I saw. But anyways, so those were the, relationships I had with those certain people. As for, like, Carla and Decidrus Michaela, I mean, we talked, but I was never really close to them two. So, but they were both in, hate groups. I mean, I'm really stuck as to what to think. That's why there's going to be a part 2, as based on the recent incident and what happened there. Because I myself, I'm totally lost. It's like algebra to me. I just say I couldn't even get through pre-algebra and prep algebra. So that's what this whole situation is to me, this recent one, as I first started out and what was going on and what was based on the videos as I was going through it, And of course it ended up being, one of the most traumatic things that happened to me in the end, because the one person I actually trusted for the first time ended up doing the most cruel and despicable thing anybody has ever done to me. And I could never even have imagined something like this happening to me, but it did. So I thought it was important to discuss the relationships I had with these people and to get a better understanding as to, you know, how these things can work out as for bullying and how these people become, into a relationship and, what happens within them and whatnot. As you can see, I was, it was a good friendship that we had until certain things happened. And then, the leader got the power and, ended up being where I ended up going. So, part two. This is going to be based, on the recent incident and all the confusion and everything, and my feelings about it as for what happened and whatnot. So, I hope to see you for part two. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.